Our hero introduces himself as a hardcore roleplay junkie and a casual gamer. No matter what game he boots up, he's all in. He pours his soul into his character, committed to every single beat of the story. He doesn't feel a shred of shame or regret for his immersive lifestyle. He lives for the bit. He shrieks at his foes, mocking their pathetic, unsightly attempts to flee the battlefield. He bellows for them to just drop dead already. Everything was fine and dandy until he logged into this specific game. This total dumpster fire of a game is pushing his buttons in all the wrong ways. He just wanted a relaxing escape from his miserable real-world life, not this literal digital torture. He's locked in a silent battle of pure agony, gritting his teeth until his gums bleed. The pressure is about to snap him in two. He finally reaches his absolute breaking point. A taunting voice mocks his frail body, sneering at his weakness and questioning why such a wretch even bothers to exist. The tormentor cackles, asking if he's finally ready to give up the ghost, while our hero just wants to quit this hellish roleplay and go home. He screams into the void, desperately wishing he could just log out and escape to the safety of his own room. The screen flickers to life, now loading. The system confirms his connection, welcoming him to the fray. Memories flood back. His younger sister ran out the door, thinking their father had finally come home. The pristine white birthday dress he bought her is suddenly stained a sickening red, punctured by a jet-black blade that seems to swallow the very light around it. He screams his sister's name, but it's already too late. Next to fall was his older brother, the pride of the family and the head knight. And then his other sister, who had just stepped up to take the head knight position, met the same grisly fate. He roars at the murderer, cursing him as a son of a B***********. Even if there were tears in her eyes, they were instantly washed away by a torrent of blood. His mother cries out a final, desperate warning. She screams for him to run, but in the chaos, he can't even tell if she's holding a kitchen knife or their father's own sword. He begs for mercy, reminding them that he's a knight too, but there's no time for logic. The only command is to run for his life. It seems their father has returned to the fray as well, turning the home into a slaughterhouse. His memories go fuzzy as he desperately grabs for a weapon to defend himself. The world blurs into a nightmare of red, white, and suffocating black. The only thing left to see is the cold, uncaring moonlight shining down on the carnage. A cursed blade sinks into his right arm, embedding itself deep beneath his skin. Heart pounding, they bolt through the shadows as a terrifying predator looms in the darkness. There's no looking back now. Run for your life. A deafening silence hangs in the air as he collapses to the ground. Defeated, the weight of the world crashes down on him in this crushing moment of despair. A sinister voice whispers that he's found a fine vessel for his dark designs. A monstrous, shadowy hand lunges for the boy's throat. Terror consumes him as death closes in. The entity declares that he will soon become a perfect shell for its power. He offers a desperate, final prayer. He begs for a soul strong enough to overcome this corrupt and evil nature. He hopes for a being that will stand tall and refuse to crumble before the darkness. Someone capable of rising up and achieving total victory against the demon hordes. He pleads for a miracle. Gasping for air, he stares ahead with wide, frantic eyes as the sheer intensity of the moment hits him. His pulse is racing, and he's pushed himself right to the brink of collapse. A voice snaps him out of his trance. "Hey, are you getting off, or what?" He's arrived at the Tatara trading post. The tension is suffocating as he stands in chilling, stony silence. Whatever he's planning, it's going to be absolutely lethal. He jumps, startled by the sudden intrusion. Even NPCs have no sense of personal space, apparently. The tension snaps as he spins around, locking eyes with his target in a flash. Caught off guard, the confrontation begins with a chilling glare. A single heavy step echoes through the silence, signaling a terrifying arrival. The hunt begins now. He grumbles under his breath, calling the other guy an arrogant bastard. The scars of the past burn bright as he locks eyes with his prey. With a cold, calculated gaze, he prepares to unleash hell. This level of immersion is absolutely top tier. During the opening cinematic, he honestly thought he was reliving his own traumatic past. The realism of the tutorial is insane. Are these really NPCs? They act more like real people than his actual neighbors. If he could, he'd be dancing in the street right now. If the game stays this good, he might actually be able to maintain his intense roleplay. The brand new VR game Legend of Heroes has finally arrived, and the Tatara trading post is the starting point. 15 years ago, the original version of this game was shut down after 5 years, and now he's finally stepping into the glorious VR remake. The connection is stable and ready to roll. He's a true blue RP junkie, and he's ready to show it. His eye is starting to ache from all this intensity. He corrects himself. He doesn't usually use asterisks, but he wanted to try it out. He's a casual gamer, not an edgelord. Okay? By now, you're probably dying to know his character concept. Well, listen up, because it's absolutely legendary. He even brought some sick concept art to show off. He's playing a demon knight, a high-difficulty class characterized by a tragic backstory, a demon-possessed arm, and a burning hatred for the monsters that ruined his life. The demon that slaughtered his family is now living inside his arm, and it's a ticking time bomb. He lives in constant fear of the moment the beast takes control. If he loses control, he knows he'll become the very monster that destroyed his family. To keep everyone safe, he isolates himself, constantly on edge, waiting for the demon to strike. It's the perfect, angsty character concept. He spent a fortune on this outfit, and he's not ashamed of it. The coat, the arm, it's all about the aesthetic. Is he acting like a weirdo? Probably, but that's the price of genius. Enough basking in his own glory. It's time to get the real roleplay started. Now, the million-dollar question, what does he do next? Shouldn't a quest window be popping up by now? Where's the minimap? Where's the quest log? Does he just wait for an NPC to walk over and give him a job? Suddenly, an NPC approaches, asking if he's the demon knight. It's showtime. He tries to look cool and collected. No dialogue choices? No response keywords? He stammers, trying to maintain his character as the NPC waits for an answer. He tells the NPC to lead the way, keeping it short and mysterious. The NPC agrees, clearly a bit intimidated by his intense vibe. They're heading to the Adventurers Guild, and he's told to follow along. He watches the NPC walk on eggshells and thinks, "Don't be so scared, kid. I'm a nice guy. How is this city so incredibly realistic?" It's mind-blowing. He overhears NPCs talking about rebel armies and profit margins. It's like they have actual lives. These aren't scripted lines. They're real-time reactions. This tech is absolutely wild. No matter how real they seem, they're still just lines of code. VR development has really come a long way in such a short time. The protagonist hooks into the neural interface, preparing to dive headfirst into a digital nightmare. The simulation is about to begin, and there's no turning back now. They've finally arrived at the guild. A sudden surge of power erupts, leaving his eyes wide with shock. Everything is about to change in a flash of blinding light. He's standing right in front of the Tatara Adventurer Guild. The NPC clerk calls out, announcing that the adventurer has finally arrived. The graphics are so real he's wondering if the developers are harvesting aliens to make these textures. The clerk greets him with a polite smile. He introduces himself as Isran, the guild clerk. He recognizes our hero immediately and asks for his adventurer token to start the registration process. The inventory system is intuitive. Just reach into the bag and grab what you need. The system interface flickers to life, revealing a trove of legendary loot ripe for the taking. Our hero stares down the glowing inventory, ready to claim power beyond imagination. He complains about the status window blocking his view. But hey, it adds to the human feel of the game. It's a small UI blunder, but it makes the game feel oddly authentic. The tension spikes as a gloved hand brandishes a mysterious, emblem-stamped card. The game is officially afoot. The clerk offers to guide him to his request immediately, noting that the client is in a hurry. It's time for the long-awaited tutorial quest. He knows the script, but he can't help feeling a bit nervous. Someone in the background thinks he looks absolutely ridiculous. The chairman of the merchant group wonders if he's brave or just suicidal for taking a job without asking questions. He realizes the chairman is just an NPC, which means he can finally have a guilt-free shouting match with a virtual old man. He worries about failing an affinity check, but surely the tutorial won't be that cruel, right? The chairman yells at him for being silent, while the clerk nervously tells the boss to calm down. He's locked in his perfect comeback line. He tells the chairman that his tongue knows no manners. The chairman is completely taken aback. Why are the NPCs acting so shocked? Are they actually reacting to his words? He realizes he should have seen this coming. The NPCs are genuinely stunned by his attitude. Tension reaches a breaking point as the mysterious stranger confronts the shocked family. One wrong move could trigger a catastrophe. The chairman demands he drop the act and get to business. The chairman asks if he really volunteered without knowing the details, and he retorts that he's just following the plot. He's genuinely impressed by how realistic the NPCs are. Role-playing is the real content here, after all. He's ready to get down to business. He asks if his target is going to put him in actual danger. He dismisses the threats as insignificant bugs. A cold sweat breaks as realization hits. She's frozen in shock by an unsettling, chilling presence. The chairman tells him to hurry up and take the commission if he's interested. There's a problem in the sewers, and none of the workers they sent have come back alive. Apparently, a demon nest has taken up residence deep underground. The workers are likely dead, and the goal is to clear the nest and recover their belongings. The previous hunters failed, and the temple is taking its sweet time to help. The chairman doubts he can handle it given his frail appearance, but he's not having any of that. He tells them not to compare him to those weaklings. It's just a little sewer cleaning. The chairman is annoyed by his arrogance, but he doesn't care. The tension between them is palpable. He decides that a hyper-realistic NPC is way better than dealing with whiny players. The others are whispering about how ridiculous his RP is. He confirms he's accepting the commission. The contract is drafted. Clear the sewers and get a bonus for finding the workers' items. There are 13 missing workers in total. He gets an extra 2 days to finish the job, and he's still waiting for that quest window to pop up.
400,000 gal.
That's a massive reward for a tutorial, but they're taking a commission fee? He tries to ignore the fee, but he still feels like he's being ripped off. The contract is signed, and he's told to report back to the guild when he's done. Finally, the quest window pops up. The quest is official. Eliminate the demons and find the missing belongings. The devs are clearly sadistic for making him sign a contract first. The system processes his request. He's got an in-room reserved under the merchant group's name. He receives a physical map of the sewer system. An analog map? How retro. The clerk wishes him luck. Despite the NPC's cold exterior, there's a hint of genuine concern in his eyes. So intricate he feels like he's performing in a play. As long as he's getting paid, there's no room for failure. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The heavy gates slam shut with a thunderous boom, sealing his fate inside. There is no turning back now. The hunt begins. He sighs, grumbling about how those pesky demons are giving him a massive headache as he prepares for the task ahead. He admires his massive, two-handed sword, bragging that its destructive power is the ultimate tool to bring terror to anything foolish enough to stand in his way. The scene shifts as the hero readies his gear for the carnage to come. The battlefield falls into a chilling silence as he stands triumphant over the fresh kill. With his blade still dripping, he looms over the fallen beast like an unstoppable force of nature. He frowns at the sound of his weapon, worried that the durability might be dropping way too fast after just one swing. Realizing the sewer is too cramped for a massive blade, he decides to stow it away before he accidentally snaps his favorite toy in half. He settles on a reliable long sword, the bread and butter of every adventurer, known for its perfect balance and versatility. With his blade in hand, He feels truly ready to start the hunt. The hunter's gaze turns ice-cold as he prepares to unleash a lethal strike. There's no escaping the wrath of this awakened warrior. With a cold glint in his eye, he draws his blade to silence the battlefield. The tension is palpable as he prepares to unleash absolute carnage. The silence shatters as a mysterious stranger steps into the light. A tense standoff begins, and the atmosphere is thick with incoming trouble. He eyes the stranger, noting that this guy is every bit as intimidating as the rumors suggested. Definitely the top dog among the demon hunters. The heavy gate looms like a guillotine, waiting for our lone hero to cross the threshold into the dark unknown. With every rhythmic step, the tension in this death trap reaches a breaking point. He lets out a primal scream, cursing the demons as he prepares to dish out some serious justice. He taunts the encroaching horde, inviting the insects to come and meet their maker. A blinding barrage of energy shreds the goblin horde to pieces. No one survives this lethal, high-speed assault. With a single lethal strike, he carves through the horde. Blood paints the air as his enemies fall before his ruthless precision. A lethal gaze pierces through the shadows. The predator has finally locked onto its target. He bellows, promising to send these monsters straight back to the hellish hole they crawled out of. A single, brutal strike sends the monster's severed head flying. Its reign of terror ends in a pool of blood. He lets out a bored yawn. This is supposed to be the main event? Talk about anticlimactic. He checks his quest log, annoyed that he has to handle chores like rescuing children and cleaning up sewers instead of fighting real bosses. The list of tasks keeps growing, and he's starting to lose his patience with this grind. He lets out a frustrated huff, wiping the grime from his brow. He rages at the screen, pointing out that after all that slaughter, not a single piece of loot dropped. He calls out the game for being stingy, labeling it absolute trash for its miserable drop rates. It all makes sense now. They offered a huge payout for the tutorial quest because there's literally no other way to get rich in this game. The realization hits him. He's been conned by the developers into doing pro bono work. He's so salty about the lack of rewards that he's half tempted to start looting the goblin corpses himself. He stops himself, remembering that someone is watching him, and he needs to keep up his cool persona. A flash of lethal blades shreds the encroaching vines to pieces. Our hero narrowly escapes a deadly entanglement with a display of razor-sharp precision. A heavy, armored boot slams down with bone-crushing force. There's no escaping this brutal arrival. The terrified child stammers out a shaky, heartfelt thank you. He glances at his quest log again, noting the optional objective to rescue the child is still ticking away. He observes the kid, noting he looks a bit bigger than the sister from the opening cinematic. The developers really love their NPCs, don't they? He stares at his own hand, grimacing at the irony that the demon who killed his sister is now living inside him. He wonders how he hasn't lost his mind yet, though the character profile claims he's just sensitive. Sure, let's go with that. At least he was able to save this kid, offering a small redemption for the tragedy that befell his own sister. He's not one for emotional speeches, but he figures his character would at least show a shred of kindness to a child in need. He hesitates to touch the boy, knowing that his demon-inhabited hand might be a little too dangerous for comfort. He steels his resolve, reminding himself that protecting the weak is the fundamental duty of a knight. The boy looks up, wide-eyed, and asks if he's truly a knight. He sighs, deciding he won't be a total jerk to the kid, if only because the NPC AI is disturbingly realistic. The boy blubbers, explaining that his mom went down to clean the sewers and never came back. He apologizes for coming down here alone, and the hero just shakes his head at the tragedy of it all. He laments the unfairness of the world. Kids should be playing, not searching for parents in dangerous sewers. The boy offers a tearful apology, clearly overwhelmed by the situation. He tells the kid not to apologize, feeling his own heart soften as he tries to comfort the little one. The boy pulls out the few belongings he managed to recover from his mother. The sight of the child weeping is almost too much to bear, and he finds he can't just walk away and leave him behind. He scoops the exhausted child into his arms, deciding to carry him out of this hellhole himself. He wonders if the game is using motion capture for these NPCs, because the child's acting is so convincing it's starting to feel real. He reminds himself that it's just a game, trying to push the heavy emotions aside. He reads the tooltip about purification. If the demonic space isn't cleansed, the monsters will just keep coming back. The heavy, rhythmic thud of boots echoes through the darkness. The tension rises with every calculated step. The mission is clear. He must ensure no more demons ever dare to set foot on this ground again. He wonders if he should have paid closer attention to the quest messages before diving in headfirst. A flicker of doubt crosses his mind. Would it have changed anything if he'd been more careful? A frantic call for help suddenly rips through the air. A merchant group's signal flare has been fired nearby. And it's not a drill. The flare is deep red, the universal signal for multiple casualties and an immediate death trap. A cold, piercing gaze locks onto the target. The predator has finally set his sights on the prize. The call for help cuts off abruptly, leaving only the sound of impending doom. Drenched in blood and staring into the abyss, he realizes his nightmare has only just begun. Death stares him right in the face. Frozen in terror, he watches in silence as a gruesome threat lurks just out of sight. Blood stains the forest floor, signaling that the nightmare is only just beginning. An icy chill paralyzes his senses as the nightmare takes hold. He struggles to stifle a scream while terror grips his very soul. The child asks if his mom is happy now that she's with God. He thinks about the game developers. If there's a God in this world, it's them, and that's not exactly reassuring. He hopes the devs aren't total psychopaths, though the carnage he's seen so far suggests otherwise. A guild member approaches, curious about what the adventurer is doing back so soon. She spots the child, and her expression shifts to one of concern. He explains the boy is a laborer's child who went looking for his parents, telling her to get the details from the kid himself. A heavy sack is slammed down with earth-shattering force. The tension spikes as a shocked onlooker realizes exactly what's inside. He explains that the weight of the sack is almost as heavy as a child, and she instinctively reaches out to take it. He tells her these are the recovered belongings, the only things left of the boy's mother. She asks if these belong to all 13 missing people, her voice trembling. He snaps back, asking what else it could possibly be, causing her to scramble to verify the identities. The adventurer tokens clatter as she begins to sort through the grim pile. A piercing gaze locks onto the target with lethal precision. Everything is about to change in an instant. The guild representative expresses her deepest gratitude on behalf of the organization. He tells her to save the thanks and just pay up. He searched that sewer for hours without a single map marker, and he's fed up with the realism. A cold, piercing gaze emerges from the shadows. The hunt is officially on. Hearing her choked-up voice actually makes him feel a little better about the whole frustrating ordeal. He realizes that the level of immersion in this game is dangerously high. She asks if that concludes his work for the day. She suggests he take a break, but he's already itching for the next fight. Break? He spent his entire savings on a full dive setup. He's not here to take naps. He's here to grind. He wonders if there's a follow-up quest he's missing, or if she's just trying to get him to go home. He asks if the purification is a mandatory quest, frustrated that he might have to go back into the filth he just left. She looks stunned at his eagerness to dive back into danger. She clarifies if he actually finished off every single demon down there. He replies that he wouldn't have come back otherwise. He's not a delivery boy, he's a professional. Even though he didn't clear the zone at record speeds, her dramatic reaction is starting to get on his nerves. He demands to know why she's looking at him with such a condescending attitude. She immediately apologizes, terrified that she's offended such a powerful adventurer. She promises to take care of the child while he waits for the client to arrive. While he waits, he decides to check his skill window and see how much that last level up helped. He reviews his quest log, noting the completion of the sewer cleanup and his new objective to talk to the client. The guild hands over his reward for 100,000 gold. He muses that the devs are total masochists, Making money strictly through quest rewards is a brutal way to keep the economy in check. The guild offers to buy his loot for a good price, which reminds him of something important. He remembers his butchery skill and realizes he might be able to squeeze even more profit out of these demon carcasses. Even if he had known about the money earlier, he admits he still would have prioritized combat skills for survival. He scoffs at the idea of settling for pocket change from mere bugs when he could be hunting bigger game. He decides that a true role player picks skills that match their character's identity, even if it means missing out on some utility. He's relieved this is a single-player game. He doesn't have to worry about party balance, so he can just stack the coolest, most destructive skills possible. To get the good stuff, he needs to level up fast. Is there really nothing else to do here? He decides he's done with this place. The quest is complete, and his time is money. A sudden shout startles him, nearly making him jump out of his skin. An old man charges in, screaming about an emergency, and the hero wonders if the guy's trousers are on fire. He thinks the guy acts like a grumpy neighborhood grandpa. The character design team really outdid themselves. The old man bellows that it's a rescue request, and it's urgent. Another signal flare has gone up. Things are going from bad to worse. The tension reaches a breaking point as our protagonist steps forward with lethal intent. Everyone else can only watch in stunned silence as the confrontation begins. He notes that the Holy City guards are predictably slow, classic early game pacing where the player has to do all the heavy lifting. The old man rages about how much they pay the guards, yet they never lift a finger when real trouble hits. He refuses to be a pushover, standing his ground against the old man's demands. He agrees to go, but only after he gets to deliver his prepared cool line. He warns the old man not to push him around. The old man pleads that it's a paid contract, promising a handsome reward if he just gets moving. The contract is sealed, and he prepares to head out, while the guild scrambles to get the paperwork ready. A new mission pops up: save the survivors and crush the attackers. Let the grind continue. He decides to skip regrouping. He's a one-man army, and he doesn't need to hold anyone's hand. The quest objective pulses on his screen, urging him to get to the combat zone before it's too late. A single, cold gaze cuts through the tension. The hunter has finally locked onto his prey. He realizes this is a time attack mission. No time to waste on group tactics. Someone shouts that he cleared the sewer alone, so he's definitely the right guy for the job. He gets a horse, feeling confident. He spent years in horseback riding simulators, so this should be a breeze. He urges the horse forward, shouting for his precious experience points to wait for him. The wind whips past as he charges toward the distant smoke. The ground shatters under the weight of an unstoppable charge. A relentless force is closing in, and there's nowhere left to run. A devastating blast rips through the landscape, obliterating everything in its path. Absolute destruction reigns as the forest is consumed by hellfire. He raises his sword, declaring victory for his blade before the fight has even truly peaked. The one-eyed warrior charges through the carnage, trampling the monsters beneath his horse's hooves. Blood sprays as he ruthlessly carves a path of destruction through the horde. He bellows to the heavens, claiming glory for his actions. The survivors catch sight of him and hope surges. Is the vanguard finally here to save them? One of them screams to get away, but the hero is already committed to the slaughter. He's not leaving until everything is dead. The desperate survivor brandishes a torch against the encroaching darkness. With blood on his face and terror in his eyes, he makes a final stand for his life. With a deadly gaze and steel resolve, he leaps into the fray. The battlefield trembles as he descends to claim his victory. A lethal strike tears through the darkness, shattering the ground on impact. Nothing can withstand the raw, explosive force of this devastating blow. A monster lets out a final, gurgling cry as the blade finds its mark. He mutters that the job will be done in record time. He promises to finish them all off before the survivors lose another drop of blood. He doesn't even bother answering their questions. His actions speak louder than words. The air ignites as he draws his blade, ready to unleash hell. A single strike is all it takes to decide the victor. A lethal killing intent ignites as those glowing crimson eyes lock onto the target. The predator has finally awakened. He roars, swearing to tear every last one of these vermin apart. A lightning-fast strike shreds through the enemy ranks. The monsters are obliterated in a single brutal cross-slash. A single, brutal strike slices through the enemy in a shower of blood. It's a clean, lethal cut that leaves no room for survival. Terror grips the scouts as they come face to face with a towering, unknown threat. Their torchlight flickers, but there's no escape from the shadow looming over them. A cold, chilling grin spreads across his face as blood stains the air. The slaughter has only just begun. A scout gasps for air, trembling in fear as he realizes his opponent's life force is reading at absolute zero. Is this even a human? Or is it a monster walking in the skin of a man? The air vibrates with a terrifying, unknown energy that makes their skin crawl. The Archmage issues a stern order to reach the Tatara trading post by sunrise, leaving everyone wondering what could possibly be so urgent. He explains that a powerful, suffocating demonic energy is encroaching upon them. A digital interface flickers into view, tracking the survivors in real time as a grim rescue mission begins. Our protagonist complains about the lack of hygiene in this world. Monster flesh in the mouth is definitely not on his bucket list. Meanwhile, the survivors are just happy to be alive. Suddenly, the reality of the situation hits them. It's demonic energy erosion. It's a nightmare scenario where those touched by a demon risk being slowly consumed and mutated by their dark essence. The erosion acts like a poison, inflicting brutal status ailments until the victim is lost to the darkness forever. Panic sets in as they realize they lack the proper medicine to stop the rot. He remembers the game mechanics. Of course, there was a system for this. In the original game, every hit from a demon triggered a probability check to see if your corruption gauge would spike. The corruption numbers are ticking up, and it's not a pretty sight. Since his Demon Knight class makes him immune, he had completely forgotten this was even a problem for normal humans. He decides to be generous, realizing that saving more survivors will likely net him a better reward. He pulls out his supplies, ready to play the savior. He tosses the medicine to a survivor who can barely believe his luck. The antidote acts like a miracle, purifying the demonic rot and suppressing the madness taking hold of the wounded. He hands out supplies like candy, leaving the NPCs stunned by his sudden kindness. The survivors scramble to collect the wounded, finally realizing that all those starter items weren't just filler. They were meant for exactly this moment. The quest tracker updates as the survivor count stabilizes. With the immediate danger past, he wonders if there's anything left to do before the quest officially closes. His heart hammers as the tension reaches a breaking point. The shadows seem to hold their breath. Reinforcements arrive, and the long-awaited completion prompt finally blinks onto his screen. The quest is officially marked as complete. He really can't get over how long it took that prompt to show up. A new subquest pops up. It's time to recover the bodies and scavenge for loot. The grind never stops, does it? With his blade secured, the lone warrior prepares to turn his back on the scene, ready to unleash a storm of vengeance. Being treated like a mere pack mule definitely hurts his pride, but the loot is worth it. He lurks in the shadows like a predator, his silent presence radiating pure danger. He realizes he can just let the NPCs do the heavy lifting while he watches the XP roll in. The NPCs grumble, calling him a lazy jerk for standing around, but he couldn't care less. Let them talk. Their complaints are just background noise to him. Watching others work while he relaxes is the ultimate power move. Is this what true luxury feels like? He wonders if this level of detail is a hint for a future plot twist. This game is deeper than it looks. He notes that even with the mangled remains, the body count is off. Something is definitely fishy here. Typical government, collecting taxes but failing to actually deal with the demon problem. Missing bodies? That's a classic hook for a black magic subplot. The cleanup is finished. It's finally time to head back to civilization. Everything has been collected. The objective is checked off. He signals for the group to move out. A job well done, even if the NPCs did most of the sweating. He's not here for glory. He's here to make sure his pockets are lined with gold. The merchant scoffs at the idea of cheating an adventurer, as if the cane slams into the floor, signaling that the boss is done playing games and ready to talk business. He's being offered yet another job. The guild staff is confused. There shouldn't be any new work on the books. It's the usual demon extermination. The location is the Northwest Forest, and the chairman is furious that the previous mercenaries have failed to clear it. He's putting his faith in our hero, having seen exactly what he's capable of. He actually kind of likes this grumpy old man character. It's refreshing to see an NPC with some backbone. The request is being pushed through, despite the guild's hesitation about the other adventurers still out there. Harsh but fair. If you lack the skill to do the job, you lose the contract. The tension spikes as the chairman shoots a cold, piercing glare that says, "This is not a suggestion." He warns that there will be cancellation fees, but our hero isn't sweating it. A polite cough and the deal is essentially signed in blood. They head off to an inn to finalize the details away from prying eyes. The next day breaks with a new mission on the horizon. The quest update is clear: move to the Northwest Forest and survive. The carriage rolls out, carrying our hero toward his next high-stakes confrontation. Who in their right mind programs leg cramps into a game? This is supposed to be a fun fantasy, not a simulated marathon. 10 hours of travel with no skip button? This game is truly a test of patience. A sudden, brutal strike in his mind leaves him reeling. The shadows are closing in fast. He wonders why he's even bothering with all this, but the way the little NPC kid looks at him with such admiration makes the grind almost bearable. Just endure it. There's a double wealth event waiting for him at the end of this. A formal contract is signed, and the merchant's assistant guides him toward the forest. They want the job done yesterday, but he's already moving at his own pace. The bounty is 700,000 gallons, not a bad payday at all. He's shocked by the reward amount. Maybe this game isn't so trash after all. The merchant adds a bonus for a personal hire. The pot just got sweeter. He's shocked that his negotiation level 0 actually worked. Maybe he's just naturally charismatic, or maybe the game is just broken. Was this quest always this profitable? Or did he just stumble into a hidden script? He pushes for even more. 300,000 extra gal is a massive win. He's starting to think he has a real talent for making money. Should he try this in the real world? The merchant tries to offer him a rest, but he's already focused on the hunt. When demons are involved, time is a luxury he can't afford. The mask slips, and the merchant is left in pure shock at the hero's sudden change in demeanor. He's completely unreadable, a total enigma. Once he hits max level, he's definitely going to look into the real estate market in this game. The kid asks if he's an adventurer, but the answer isn't so simple. He's not doing this for the title. He's a lone avenger, not just another guild puppet. The kid looks a bit confused, but he lets it slide. Maybe he was a little too blunt, but hey, he's not here to make friends. He offers to answer any questions, provided they aren't a waste of time. The kid asks a simple, innocent question. Has he ever seen the ocean? It's genuinely impressive how the developers made these NPCs act like real, wide-eyed children. He describes the ocean as a blue expanse, matching the kid's eyes and the ripples of their hair. The kid is absolutely captivated by the description. Even a cold-hearted gamer can appreciate a moment of pure wonder. The journey was quiet, but the silence feels like the calm before a hurricane. He never expected that his arrival would lead to such a chaotic scene. A voice rings out, condemning humanity for daring to betray the gods. The attacker roars, swearing to strike him down in the name of the divine. The lone warrior emerges from the crimson forest, every step dripping with lethal intent. The predator locks onto his target, preparing to turn the forest into a killing field. His search skill flares to life, identifying the hostiles in the blink of an eye. The interface glitches for a second, but the threat is clear as day. He was worried about finding a needle in a haystack, but his skills make the hunt effortless. Hostile detected within 10 meters. It's go time. He stares into the darkness, completely stunned by the unexpected ambush. How did they track him so quickly? The forest is alive with hostility. A mysterious challenger lunges into the fray, turning the battlefield into a furnace of war. The name of the god is shouted like a war cry as the blade swings. The shadows scream as the killer lunges. This is a fight to the death. He draws his steel, the cold edge reflecting his lethal resolve. The hunt is officially on. The attacker continues to shout about striking him down, but our hero isn't having it. That weapon is heavy. His sword's durability is going to take a massive hit at this rate. A blinding crimson flash rips through the air as steel meets steel in a brutal collision of power. The impact sends shockwaves through the trees. Who is this zealot, and why are they acting like they belong to the church? The attacker confirms it. She's here to execute him. The air turns ice cold as the figure emerges. Our hero is left in stunned silence. A priestess acting like an assassin? Since when did the church start condoning this kind of senseless violence? She screams that a demon has no right to talk about violence. She's completely blinded by her fanaticism, refusing to listen to reason. Does she really think he's a demon? No quest notification appeared, meaning this isn't a scripted event. She's just genuinely mistaken. He checks his inventory again, not a single cursed item. Why is she so obsessed with branding him a monster? It hits him. It's the gauntlet. Wait, is that why she's acting this way? The armor he's wearing is clearly triggering her demon hater sensors. She grips her weapon, the air crackling with an intent to destroy anything she deems unholy. She hates demons so much she's lost the ability to tell the difference between a man and a monster. He shouts back. He's no demon, and he's tired of this fanatic calling him one. She continues her mantra, dedicating her strike to the heavens. She's calling him a traitor and a mimic. The audacity of this woman. She demands he submit to judgment, but he's not the type to bow down. She's got a point about the night thing, but he's not going to apologize for his skills. With an explosive burst of speed, he shatters the ground beneath him and launches a counterattack. He's not here for a fair fight. He's here to win, and he'll use every dirty trick in the book to do it. He activates Breaker, coating his blade in dark energy to deliver a massive, wide-reaching strike. He roars the skill name, putting everything into the swing. The impact is deafening, forcing a grunt of pain from his opponent. A blinding flash of dark power erupts, forcing the priestess to defend against the onslaught. He mocks her for hiding behind her shield, comparing her to a turtle. He threatens to take her head as an offering, but notices a strange glow. Is that a buff or a trap? The earth shakes as their powers collide in a colossal blast of light and shadow. She screams that her god is with her, but our hero isn't intimidated. The blinding light is a nuisance, but he keeps his eyes locked on the target. That's a full-body buff. He's actually jealous of how good her skill set is. If he remembers the game correctly, that buff should only apply to weapons. Why is she using it on herself? With resolve hardened, the warrior unleashes another surge of power, refusing to let her light overwhelm him. She's just spreading light everywhere. Is she trying to purify the whole forest? Priest classes are usually so slow, but she's holding her own. The level gap is a mystery, but one thing is for sure, he's faster, and he's going to win this duel. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. The countdown begins, and the pressure is mounting with every passing second. It's a total stalemate. Her shield is a literal brick wall with a perfect guard rate. Talk about being overpowered. A savage sneer curls his lips as he's pushed to the brink. The tension is reaching a boiling point. The realization hits them like a truck. Breaking that shield is absolutely impossible. He bellows a challenge to the heavens, calling out the traitor to face his judgment. A cold, predatory glint enters his eyes as the thrill of the hunt takes hold. He's done playing nice. He screams back, accepting the challenge with reckless abandon. A sickening thud echoes as he takes a direct hit. The blade is pinned down. With a ruthless stomp, the enemy silences their opposition. The narrator drops some knowledge. Priest classes are built like tanks, but they move at the speed of a snail. The battle shifts gears as the real powerhouses enter the fray. A surge of raw, crackling power erupts as he unleashes his hidden fury. The knight shudders under the weight of his overwhelming bloodlust. A crimson flash descends as a desperate blade meets an unstoppable force. The battlefield erupts in a cataclysmic clash of power. Eyes burning with lethal intent, she lunges forward to deliver a crushing blow. There's no backing down now. She's out for blood. While the priest is busy being a human wall, the demon knight has other plans. The speed advantage is shifting rapidly. The demon knight proves why he's top tier, mocking his opponent for their slow reaction times. He screams an incantation, calling upon the inferno to incinerate his foe. A mage-class skill in the middle of a melee fight? That's definitely a dirty move. The Inquisitor looks like he's having a midlife crisis. He's clearly struggling to keep up with the chaos. A new voice cuts through the noise, promising much-needed backup just in time. The relief is palpable. The Archmage has finally arrived on the scene. Confusion ripples through the ranks as they process the arrival of these legendary figures. It's a full-blown party of third advancement classes. Talk about a high-level lobby. He surveys his opposition with a dark realization. He's up against a lethal combo of a tanky healer and a long-range nuke. The stage is set for an epic showdown between these high-ranking veterans. The protagonist stares in disbelief, questioning if this is truly happening. Is the game actually pulling this nonsense on a beginner? He rages at the screen, demanding to know if he's really being toyed with this much. Trying to clear this level feels like slamming an egg against a mountain. Is there even a way to win this impossible fight? He can't believe his ears. No pain toggle? He's about to be beaten to death without any mercy from the system. Forget the pain for a second. What about the death penalty? That's the real kicker. A sudden thought hits him. Wait, could there be an underlying intention behind this? He realizes death is just another game system mechanic. Maybe the secret to unlocking hidden features is dying in the tutorial? The developers clearly want a realistic experience, no matter how uncomfortable it is. He decides to embrace the madness and die with a clear conscience. He's gonna die anyway, so why bother being afraid? If he's going down in style, doing whatever he wants and making a grand exit. He mocks the Archmage, claiming the title of Wise Sage is nothing but a relic of the past, especially when she's busy threatening random travelers. She snaps back, accusing him of hiding behind a fake persona while secretly making contracts with demons. A system alert flashes. Hostile targets detected within a 10-meter radius. He blinks, wondering if more reinforcements are crashing the party. The air grows heavy with a suffocating, dark presence. He senses a familiar, monstrous aura. Medusa? He shouts that it's his line to be the scary one. The Inquisitor accuses him of playing the victim while summoning his cronies in the shadows. He scoffs, telling the blind fanatic that the divine light has clearly clouded her judgment. He vows to carve that demon into ribbons and shut the Inquisitor's foolish mouth for good. A colossal, sinister serpent looms from the darkness with glowing eyes of malice. Our hero stands his ground, blade drawn, ready to face the nightmare head-on. It's a Medusa, a demon made of hundreds of snakes. It's a classic trope, but he realizes the story event is actually happening. He chuckles, relieved the developers aren't total psychopaths. They wouldn't just kill a user in the first hour. He's actually enjoying this. The monster shrieks a vow of death, but our hero isn't shaking in his boots. He catches the Inquisitor trying to sneak into the party while pretending to be clueless. Nice try. He locks eyes with his target, knowing exactly who is behind the chaos. According to the system, the red snake is the core. In the original story, people wasted time fighting all the snakes, but he's not that patient. Who has time for that? He's got that classic, impatient gamer energy. He needs this over with fast. If the game is this realistic, the heart of the beast must be just as easy to spot. A single, devastating strike slices through the monster's hide. Blood erupts as the predator becomes the prey. Blood stains the air as he unleashes a lethal, snake-infused strike. No mercy is shown in this brutal display of raw power. He zeroes in on the exact spot where the snake's heart beats. Jackpot! He's got the location locked in. He mocks the idea of swinging a sword aimlessly. Precision is the name of the game. A shower of gore erupts as a lethal strike tears through the enemy. The battlefield turns crimson in a flash of pure, bloody violence. With a savage grip, he crushes the life out of the venomous serpent. No monster can withstand his blood-soaked fury. He breathes a sigh of satisfaction. That motion was clean. The red snake is officially history. Now that the appetizer is out of the way, it's time for the main event. He's fully immersed in the Demon Hunter roleplay now, and he's loving every second of it. A sudden, chilling thud breaks the silence as a sinister red serpent hits the ground. The tension spikes. Who just entered the fray? A heavy boot slams into the ground, sending shockwaves of raw power rippling through the air. The intensity is off the charts as total destruction begins. Bloodied and battered, our hero plummets into the abyss. Is this the end of the line? Ethereal lights dance in the shadows, signaling that something magical is about to unfold. The darkness hides a mystery waiting to be revealed. Our hero hits rock bottom, bloodied and broken before his formidable foes. With no strength left to stand, the end seems all but certain. He wonders if these religious fanatics have any tactical sense at all. The blade thirsts for blood as it strikes with a deafening, metallic shriek. Nothing stands in the way of this crimson-stained execution. He mocks them, sarcastically praising them for not rushing to their own deaths by interfering. He threatens to rip their jaws off as a reward for their annoying behavior. The Archmage suddenly pivots, apologizing for the attack and begging him to hear them out. The Inquisitor is baffled, but the Archmage insists that he isn't a demon contractor. The Inquisitor is spiraling. If he's not a contractor, why does he have demonic power? Her head is spinning. The Archmage explains that this is a rare phenomenon barely mentioned in the Academy's archives. Our hero is just standing there thinking, this lore dump is actually pretty top tier, I should listen. She explains that usually, a host becomes a mindless zombie once a parasite takes over. But this guy, he's actually suppressed the demon and is using its power for himself. Absolute Chad move. The Inquisitor can't handle it. Human will alone shouldn't be enough to do that. The warrior's eyes widen in absolute terror as the unthinkable unfolds before her. She's caught completely off guard, and the shock is written all over her face. The Archmage shuts her down. In this world, impossible is just a word for things people haven't tried yet. She gestures toward our hero, asking how else they could define such a unique existence. Our hero is getting bored. Are they done gossiping right in front of his face yet? A zombie? He's insulted. He decides to lean into his edgy persona because the game is giving him such a fun event. Time to give them a show they'll never forget. The Archmage offers a reward, but he assumes it'll just be pocket change and some junk-tier armor. He snaps back, asking if they'd cut off their own tongues if he asked. If they can't do that, he tells them to take their apologies and shove them where the sun doesn't shine. He'd love to hang their jaws at the village entrance, but he's trying to avoid becoming the very monster he's hunting. He tells them to get lost. He's done playing nice. He's having a blast. This AI is so responsive it feels like he's actually talking to real people. Being a jerk only works if the other side gives good reactions. These NPCs are really earning their keep today. Oh right, he almost forgot to loot the corpse. With a bone-chilling grip, the armored hand seizes the blood-drenched beast. The hunt has turned lethal. He wonders if they're going to whine about him looting his own kill. With eyes burning in fury, the red-haired warrior swoops in to save the day. Success is snatched from the jaws of defeat in the blink of an eye. He reminds the NPC that a beginner user needs these materials to finish a quest. He demands they listen to his side of the story, too. A new quest notification pops up. Time to get paid. The Inquisitor offers a sincere apology. He's stunned. Usually, these high-level NPCs are way too proud to admit they're wrong. He wonders if the writers actually remembered to give these NPCs personalities, or if they're just acting out of character. She continues to apologize, acting so earnest that he's starting to feel awkward, even if she is just lines of code. It was an easy misunderstanding, so he decides to let it slide. No point in holding a grudge against a well-written bot. She offers a reward, and he wonders if this is the start of a companion recruitment side quest. A companion? In this economy? He's not so sure. He doesn't need one, and it would totally ruin the lone wolf roleplay he's got going. He doubles down, telling them he has no need for their help or their hypocrisy. The Archmage tries to calm the Inquisitor down. He's clearly a prickly one. The Inquisitor wants to leave, claiming they've wasted enough time and need to report the purification. The Archmage agrees. They've got a job to finish. It's getting late and they need to make tracks. Our hero watches them go, finally getting some peace and quiet. A heavy, ominous step shatters the silence of the night. The hunter has finally arrived. A mysterious figure with flowing silver hair descends upon the scene. The tension spikes as they make their chilling entrance. He pauses. Why are they still hanging around? He's getting suspicious. Are they following him? He's following his map, but he doubts they can see his player HUD. Why are they taking the same route? The Archmage claims purification is her duty, but she's clearly keeping an eye on him. He gets annoyed. If they're done, they should just leave him to his grind. Is there more to this quest? He decides to test the waters and see what they want. He repeats his demand. Didn't he tell them to get lost already? The Archmage apologizes, insisting it wasn't intentional. They were just following their own navigation magic, and it turns out they're heading to the same spot. He realizes they have their own map system. Talk about an overinflated ego. He thought he was special. He feels a bit embarrassed about the outburst and decides to just step aside. They warn him that the forest is dangerous at night. He scoffs, that's only dangerous for them. He tells them to respect his roleplay and leave him to his path. They insist it's a bad idea, but he's not listening. The Inquisitor asks if it's really okay to leave him alone. She's worried if he gets possessed, it'll be a total disaster. The Archmage admits she's never seen a case like this, but she's hopeful he stays in control. She knows that reality rarely matches one's wishes. She secretly casts a tracking spell on him. She's not letting him out of her sight just yet. She wishes him luck, unaware that she's currently playing the role of a stalker. The journey continues into the deep, dark woods. The city falls under a blanket of silence as night descends. Behind these quiet walls, a dangerous secret waits to be uncovered. The atmosphere is thick with hidden motives. He arrives at the gate, asking for quests, but the clerk says it's too late. He hits a wall. He's exhausted, drenched in blood and shrouded in shadows. He locks onto his target with a lethal, glowing gaze. The slaughter is only just beginning. He presents the goods to the demon knight. A blood-stained hand thrusts a grim trophy forward, demanding the truth. The time for games is over, now they must face what's inside. The NPC is shocked. He's already back? He stares at the snake corpses in disbelief. He can't believe his eyes. Is this for real? He confirms it, the demon is dead, and the mission is a success. He reflects on how he turned down the NPCs, only to realize he had a long trek ahead. It took 8 full hours by carriage. He had to walk the whole damn way back. He's questioning the developer's sanity. Who makes a game this tedious for fun? He's losing his mind. Is this really the game he signed up for? He spent an entire day walking. His legs are basically jelly. The ecosystem in the forest was way too diverse. It's almost like they wanted him to suffer. He calls it a crazy, well-made piece of trash game. He loves it and hates it at the same time. Finally, he reaches the Tatara trading post. Seeing the quest completion window pop up almost brings him to tears. The clerk verifies the Medusa kill and promises to monitor the area. They'll process the reward as soon as the sun rises. He's dizzy from pulling an all-nighter. Is he getting old? Or is this game just that draining? He thanks the clerk for the recommendation. If he hadn't bought that full dive fluid, he would have rage quit long ago. The guard is surprised to see him back so soon and guides him to the White Wind Inn. He follows the guard, barely keeping his eyes open. The guard thinks he looks brighter, but he's just running on pure fumes. The guard asks about the demon, but the Archmage interrupts. Some topics aren't for small talk. He feels bad for being a grumpy adult, but he's just too tired to roleplay properly right now. He decides to tip them well once he's rested. He made a killing today after all. He's seriously considering quitting the game. Is the pay worth the mental tax? It feels more like a blue-collar job than a fantasy adventure. His fatigue is at 100%, and he's starting to feel it in real life too. He's logging off for 6 hours. If he doesn't wake up feeling better, he's deleting the game for good. A tranquil night sky stretches out, holding its breath before the coming storm. The stars twinkle with an ominous, silent beauty. A cold, eerie moonlight spills through the window, signaling that the calm is about to be shattered. The night holds a dark secret, and silence is the only witness. The heavy silence is broken as someone steps into the fray, bandaged and ready for battle. There's no turning back now. The heavy door creaks open, shattering the silence as a motionless figure lies abandoned in the shadows. Something, or someone, has just arrived to turn this tragic scene into a nightmare. If you're enjoying this recap, smash that like button and subscribe for more. With a desperate cry, he raises his blade to deliver the final, crushing blow. There's no turning back now as he strikes his fallen enemy down. A mechanical alert blares. A hostile target has been detected within a 10-meter radius. The blade is unsheathed in a blur of motion. A deadly strike is imminent. Steel meets iron in a bone-shattering collision. The battlefield erupts as he parries the brutal blow with pure, unadulterated rage. He curses his luck. He should be the one yelling at this crazy bastard. He screams internally at his search skill, which only warns him of danger when the enemy is already staring him in the face. Talk about a useless upgrade. A brutal, unseen force slams into him with devastating impact. He's caught completely off guard as the crushing blow sends him reeling. He wonders in panic, just how is this guy so incredibly strong? The battle intensifies as he struggles to regain his footing against the onslaught. The attacker grovels, begging for his life and claiming he only wanted a measly coin purse. He commands the robber to drop the weapon and surrender, realizing he sounds more like a tired cop than a fantasy adventurer. A massive, spiked club slams down with bone-shattering force. The ground trembles as the crushing blow lands. The robber drops his loot and begs for mercy. Apparently, in this world, coin purses just magically pop out when you bash someone's skull in. He confirms the logic. That is exactly how it works. A pained wheeze escapes the victim. Another grunt of sheer agony follows. He scoffs at his opponent, mocking the idea that a toy knife could ever end his life. Even as a casual player, he finds it hilarious that he's being robbed while he's this exhausted. He was expecting a whole bandit crew, but it was just one guy walking through the front door. What kind of event is this? Anyway, the chaos continues as the confrontation reaches a fever pitch. A monkey-like creature shrieks in pure surprise. He apologizes for his temper, but pleads for just a moment of peaceful sleep. A blood-curdling roar echoes through the area. Pinned down and pushed to his limits, our hero stares into the abyss with raw, desperate intensity. He's battered, bruised, and absolutely refusing to back down. He wonders if the enemy's eyes are just for decoration, since they're screaming about his death while he's clearly still standing. The system alarm triggers again. Another hostile target within 10 meters. He questions how the enemy could have possibly committed a murder in such a short window of time. He realizes that Ascension Zombie is actually a pretty cool concept after all. A deafening clash erupts as steel meets steel, shattering the surroundings in a brutal display of power. The battle reaches a fever pitch. This annoying NPC is back again. Why does she always show up during the most suspicious moments? This story is getting a bit too convenient. The red-haired beauty snaps her head around with lethal intensity. Her piercing gaze locks onto her target, and there's nowhere left to hide. The air crackles with lethal intent as the two warriors lock blades in a tense, high-stakes standoff. A brutal clash is moments away. The priest's arrival flips his deep immersion switch, and he repeats his threat to end her if she keeps following him. He explains to himself that his custom Demon Knight backstory has specific trigger buttons that make him snap. He screams about demon spawn in the name of the gods, his mind beginning to slip. This priest keeps mashing those buttons every single time they meet. It's like she's trying to get him to lose it. The priest demands silence, accusing him of being a filthy demon who stole a human body. Right on cue, the drama hits the fan. The tension is rising to a breaking point. He warns her that she is only hastening her own demise. He tells her to back off if she doesn't want to get pointlessly involved in his business. A cold, piercing gaze locks onto the target. There is nowhere left to hide from this icy fury. The blade is drawn, ready to strike. He recognizes the spell being cast. It's a binding skill, a mage-class crowd control skill? If that's the case, he's in trouble. He tells the mage to wait and stop, wondering where she had vanished to earlier. He knows the skill will break on its own, but he needs to stay in character and resist it. Meanwhile, he threatens to pull her jaw out. He's really committed to this villain bit. The Archmage intervenes, asking what is wrong and why she is trying to stop the fight. With a deafening crash, the hero shatters his restraints in a blinding explosion of power. He's breaking free and unleashing pure chaos. A sudden surge of dark energy erupts right behind her. She freezes in terror as the shadows close in. A colossal wave of raw purple destruction obliterates everything in its path. The sheer force of this impact is enough to tear reality itself apart. A high-pitched shriek of terror rings out. The pride of the beastkin shatters as cold sweat drips down his face. A moment of pure, cringing defeat has left him completely speechless. A sinister aura erupts as the blade is unsheathed, crackling with raw, dark power. The air turns lethal the moment that cursed steel hits the light. A suffocating pressure fills the room as a dark, mana-charged aura surges from the shadows. Everything is about to shatter under this overwhelming display of power. The Archmage stands in disbelief, shocked that he broke her binding so easily. The intensity of the confrontation leaves no room for error. It's weird how things keep escalating like this. He remembers that the binding skill was so broken in the original game that players were constantly begging for a nerf. He clears his throat and suggests they all calm down. Clearly, there's been another misunderstanding. The Inquisitor demands an explanation, insisting she saw him commit a murder with her own eyes. Pure, unbridled rage radiates from the beast as she lets out a bone-chilling roar. Her lethal fangs are bared, signaling that someone is about to face her wrath. He asks the Inquisitor if her rage has once again blinded her to the truth. He tells her to look around carefully and see for herself that nobody actually died. A monster-like figure cowers in fear. The Inquisitor stares in shock. He's actually not dead? The realization that he is alive leaves the group stunned. He admits he wanted to kill him, but didn't actually go through with it. He demands an explanation, acknowledging it's shameless to ask after a shoot-first attack, but he's just that kind of guy. The other guests have gathered around. He decides to ease their anxiety before things get even messier. When did they even get here? He orders the robber to confess and stop acting like a fool. The guy is shaking in his boots. The confrontation reaches its climax. The robber breaks down, admitting he was just after the money and that it was all his fault. He explains that the hero tipped the errand boy so well he looked loaded, so he just couldn't resist. A cold shiver runs down her spine as she comes face to face with the truth. Her eyes widen in pure shock. The misunderstanding is cleared, and he lets out a long, exhausted sigh. He tells them to work on their security and prepares to leave, ignoring the adventurer who is still calling after him. He stuffs his gear into his inventory. Thank goodness he doesn't have to pack manually. He pauses, wondering why the priest and mage look so familiar. It was too dark last time to see them clearly, but now that he's looking, he realizes he recognizes them. With a cold, piercing gaze, the silver-haired warrior prepares to unleash his blade. The hunt begins now. The atmosphere grows increasingly tense. A piercing gaze locks onto the target, reflecting pure tension. There is nowhere left to run. The doors burst open to reveal a furious warrior priestess, clutching her mace and ready for divine retribution. She's absolutely shocked by what she sees. He takes a closer look at the priest's face. Her sparkling green eyes catch his attention immediately. He realizes she's the official priest-class character from Legend of Heroes. The Archmage warns the Inquisitor that it's dangerous to rush out so recklessly. She reminds her that if she wants to talk, she needs to stay calm and consider the other person's reaction. He looks closer at the Archmage and realizes she's the one from the game too. She has that classic, well-built white lioness appearance common to the Shagi Beastkin race. It's the perfect copy of the official mage character design. He notes that in the original game, other class characters didn't usually appear alongside the player. Seeing them involved like this makes him wonder if partying up with NPCs is actually mandatory. He grumbles that he doesn't want to. If he wanted to party up, he wouldn't have chosen this solo roleplay path. The game's freedom is high, so maybe it's not required. He decides to test the waters and tells them to shut up. He asks if a demon spawn is beneath the ears of a noble priest, and the priest immediately panics and apologizes. She slams her eyes shut, bracing for the absolute worst. The tension is reaching a breaking point. She declares that her insult cannot be atoned for with mere words. She offers her own head as a sacrifice if an apology isn't enough. An icy chill fills the air as a mysterious, battle-scarred warrior emerges from the shadows. Everything changes as their eyes lock. The air grows heavy as the mysterious swordsman looms over his kneeling prey. A confrontation of lethal intensity is about to explode. Total panic sets in as the color drains from his face. He's absolutely rattled by the sudden, terrifying turn of events. He complains to himself that he just likes playing solo and isn't some bloodthirsty murder machine. He is genuinely baffled by her extreme way of thinking. He wonders who raised her to be like this, the temple? Or maybe the Archmage. Even the Archmage is making a face like she has no idea what to do. He thinks he needs to stop the Inquisitor, otherwise he'll break character, which would be a disaster. The silence is deafening as they all stand frozen. A cold sweat breaks as the realization hits like a physical blow. Total shock leaves them speechless. The camera shifts to the Archmage's perspective. A terrifying aura erupts as he unleashes his true power. The battlefield trembles before his overwhelming presence. She begs him to stop. She explains the Inquisitor is new to the outside world and that it's her fault for not stopping her. She asks him to punish her instead. The Inquisitor jumps in, begging him not to punish the Archmage because it was her own mistake. She takes full responsibility for her inexperience and asks him to spare the elder. He thinks this is hopeless. He'll have to solve this mess himself. Even if they are just NPCs, this feels awkward. But honestly, it's kind of funny. He decides to just roll with it. He tells them he definitely gave them a chance to back down. A cold blade looms over her, freezing the air with lethal intent. Fear flashes in her eyes. The red-haired warrior braces for a bone-crushing impact. Pure adrenaline surges as they lock arms. A wave of pure, crushing pressure suffocates the room. The Beastkin unleashes his overwhelming aura, leaving everyone trembling in fear. She grips her weapon with trembling resolve, her eyes burning with desperate intensity. The mysterious warrior looms under the moonlight, baffled by the woman in the red dress. What kind of strange encounter is this? With a swift, clean strike, the ponytail is severed. The battlefield falls silent as the blade finds its mark. A shock of crimson hair emerges from the shadows, signaling an intense awakening. Everyone is left in stunned confusion. The priest's composure shatters as a sudden, shocking realization hits him. Pure panic flashes in his eyes. A holy incantation is whispered into the air. He chuckles to himself. This genius role-player just spared their lives without even breaking character. He remembers the big sister from the prologue who used a mace and looked just like her. They watch in silence, wondering if he's really leaving just like that. He tells her to watch her hair and her mouth from now on. He claims he got rid of her death flag hair, so she'd better start valuing her life. He warns her that next time, it won't be her hair that falls. It'll be her head. He reiterates that he cut her hair so she would live a long life, though he doubts she understands. He figures that even if he leaves them, these god-tier NPCs will probably just chase after him anyway. Our hero is losing his cool, twitching with uncontrollable energy as adorable spirits dance around his frantic movements. It's a total breakdown. The Archmage watches him go. She asks if that person, no, that gentleman, really had his body possessed by a demon. She confirms that he did. She reflects on the immense suffering he must have endured because of that demon. The hatred he must have overcome to gain such power is beyond anyone's imagination. Yet, despite having the power to act on that hatred, he simply walked away. She concludes that this was an act of true mercy. With such mental fortitude, he likely overcame the demon residing within his very soul. An ancient, multi-eyed terror looms from the shadows to challenge our lone warrior. The stage is set for a blood-soaked showdown. She marvels at the sheer strength of his heart. She realizes she still has a long way to go to reach that level of enlightenment. She knows she hasn't been out in the world long. So from now on, she must be more careful. He has a sudden epiphany, realizing something that shifts his entire perspective. He declares that this person is absolutely and undeniably essential for their journey ahead. Her eyes are locked, burning with an intense, fiery determination that demands attention. She's ready to throw down and claim her victory. A cry echoes out toward the heavens in sheer disbelief. A countdown timer ticks down. Only 2 days remaining until the full dive ends. A sudden flurry of wings breaks the silence over the peaceful town. Something is stirring in the skies above. The next morning dawns at a nearby inn, signaling a new start to their journey. The tavern is buzzing with life as the group gathers for a hearty feast. Laughter fills the air while everyone unwinds after the mission. A furious grip slams a fork into a steak with bone-shattering intensity. The dinner table becomes a battlefield as raw aggression takes the lead. The display shows a hollow, empty zero. The silence is deafening. The tension spikes as our hero locks eyes with the mysterious red-haired priestess. Whatever she's here for, it's about to change everything. He sarcastically mocks the suggestion that he needs a day off, pretending to be touched by their sweet concern. This guy's ego is somehow bigger than his sword. An unseen presence lingers, but the focus remains on the brewing confrontation. He wonders if his remaining eye is failing him, or if these people are just intentionally deaf. He contemplates flipping the table but decides the food is too good to waste. His Korean soul just won't allow it. They scramble to stop him, begging him to just hear them out because he has nothing to lose by listening. He snaps back that it isn't even worth his precious time to listen to them. He growls that even looking at their faces is already a complete loss for him. Desperate, she claims she only came because she wishes to learn from his incredible generosity. The atmosphere grows heavy as the rejection hangs in the air. An eerie, suffocating darkness swallows everything whole. The silence is shattered as cold, glowing orbs emerge from the void. A cryptic string of numbers flickers, signaling something deeply unsettling. A chaotic mess of data and symbols flashes across the screen, hinting at a system glitch. She confesses she was taught to show mercy and cast aside her arrogance, yet she failed to follow those teachings. She admits that he was different, forgiving her insults time and time again, even though it couldn't have been easy for him. She stares at him, realizing that through his actions, she has finally found the path she must take. She stammers, admitting that while she has been incredibly rude until now, she still has something to say. Oh dear, things are definitely getting awkward now. It's officially Jover for our hero. He's losing the mental battle. He admits defeat, confessing his weakness for characters who are honest, stubborn, socially awkward, and clumsy. His favorite archetype. He reflects that even in his gaming days, priests were always his absolute favorite class. She keeps pushing the cute angle, completely oblivious to how much she's annoying him. Talk about misreading the room. He forces himself to endure, reminding himself that he cannot break character now. She nervously asks if she misspoke or if she's being rude again, her anxiety hitting the roof. With cold precision, he unleashes a lightning-fast strike. The battlefield trembles as his target is pierced in a single, fatal motion. He retorts that if ruining his mood was their goal, it was certainly an interesting attempt. He adds that watching someone attempt suicide in such a novel way is actually quite refreshing. She frantically denies his claim, pleading with him one last time to just listen. He tells her there is nothing left to hear, offering her nothing but the edge of his blade. She drops the ultimate trump card. What if she told him they could help him kill Satan, the king of demons? His world stops. He is stunned into silence. He demands to know exactly what she means by that. 1,000 thoughts race through his mind at once. In a rare moment of synchronization, they both realize the weight of the name just dropped. The lone eye staring back at them radiates a killing intent unlike anything they've ever felt before. The tension is so thick you could choke on it. It becomes clear to them that he hates demons with a passion that burns hotter than any hellfire. Now that Satan's name is in the open, they know that any attempt to hide the truth will result in his blade tearing them limb from limb. Yet, the Inquisitor does not hesitate for a single second. She stands tall, knowing her entire life exists for the greater good. She realizes that if she deceives him now, a quick death would be far too light a punishment. Wow! The lore is dumping hard. Satan is on the menu, and the plot just went into overdrive. She explains the title of Inquisitor, traditionally meaning one who investigates matters of faith. In the game, however, the Inquisitor is actually the priest's third-class advancement. In the world's lore, they act as agents of the temple, carrying out its will far beyond the city walls. Despite her young age, there is a very specific reason why she had to leave the temple. It all comes down to a singular, divine revelation. She admits her own unworthiness, but claims she was told it is her destiny to defeat Satan. However, the message also warned that she could not succeed alone and must gather companions. Therefore, she sought out the Archmage first, and together they set out to find others. They came looking for him specifically, fully aware that it would displease him because they had no other choice. She turns to the Archmage, asking if she didn't promise that everything would be fine. Was she tricked into this? She's acting like a little dumpling, and it's honestly hard not to laugh at her predicament. A savage grin tears across his face as he prepares to unleash absolute chaos. The hunt is on, and he's not holding anything back. He questions how this is even possible. Isn't the player supposed to be the one who gets that revelation? He wonders if the entire remake story is just a giant trap centered around priests. Silence follows, broken only by the sound of his heavy breathing. He turns his gaze toward her, his single eye piercing through her defenses. She musters the courage to ask him point-blank if he will join them in the subjugation of Satan. A system notification blinks. A step toward slaying the Demon King main quest updated. She reveals she's done her research, noting that he's a famous mercenary who never backs down from a demon hunt. She argues that if he kills Satan, all the demons in the land will be forced to retreat. He scoffs, wondering if she really thinks that thing is supposed to be a hero. She offers to take him to the temple as proof of her status. She insists that every temple in the realm will testify that she is a true hero.